Last class we have described how the latch up may occur in integrated circuit. Today we will discuss how it can be prevented. As we know that beta F or beta DC of a BJT can be expressed in this way. And various parameters are described here. Important parameter for us is WB, base width. Base width, you understand? See, this is your, say, NPN BJT. So width of base is WB, and Na is the doping concentration of base and Nd of emitter. Okay, we're talking about NPN BJT. So all related to here, emitter Nd is here and Na is here. Okay, so why we are talking about this equation, we try to understand in relation to latch up. Okay, so to prevent latch up your beta, we have two kind of transistors, and the last class we have discussed, that is NPN and PNP transistors are there. Here you can see N, P, N, and here if you see P, N, P, these parasitic BJTs are the responsible for latch up. If there is overshoot or undershoot at the output nodes, then this latch up may occur. So to prevent latch up, the gain of this BJT should be less. Beta PNP multiplied by beta NPN should be less than 1. So in this equation, beta, how can be reduced? You can understand from the parameters. Okay. So if you look at this portion of the equation, see various parameters in this equation. You see A is there, further can be written this one from this equation. A is the cross-sectional area of the emitter, Q is the electronic charge, D and dP is the diffusion constant of electrons and holes, NPO is the equilibrium concentration of electrons in the base, WB is the width of the base from the base emitter depletion layer edge to the base collector depletion layer edge. Means there will be a depletion layer around it. Okay, so here also, so from this depletion layer to the depletion layer width is WB. Further, you have tau B is the minority carrier lifetime in the base, and Na is the base doping density and is the donor doping density, and LP is the division length of the holes. So you are aware of this kind of parameters because in third semester you have studied the BJT. So our aim is to minimize the BF. And how BF can be minimized? It can be done by maximizing width of the base region, this width, and maximizing the ratio of the base to emitter, that is, this is the base doping concentration, this is the emitter doping concentration. If you maximize this, then also we can do that. that is NAND should be maximized. Typical values of beta F is this. This is not important for us, but we have to understand that beta or gain of a BJT is to be minimized so that the latch up, possibility of latch up can be prevented. Are you understanding? Harshvardhan Agarwal, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shashank, Rajwal.
Yes, sir.
Shashank, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Rajwal.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Kartik Rai. Kartik Rai is not there. Harsh Tripathi.
Yes, sir.
Tripathi, are you there? Are you understanding this thing? How beta can be minimized from this equation?
In the first, when we are taking the reciprocal of that numerator, sir, to get the numerator one, there is a term ni square and np in the numerator of the second, sir, the second term. Sir, where is it going? Is it eliminating or?
Yes, if you go and see your lectures in the third semester, this all can be done. We are not here deriving it as such, because this all have been discussed in third semester when BJT was there. Okay, and we are concentrating on this year, this two things, WB and this. Okay, if we start describing this beta, how it is derived, then it's going to take further longer time. Okay, my aim here is to tell you that if base width is more, then beta in this equation will be less, and Na by Nd, this ratio, if you maximize, then also beta can be reduced. Okay, otherwise this kind of equation have been dealt with in the third semester. If you are not remembering, go back to that lectures and the book. It is derived, a lot of equations we have derived and discussed in the third semester. If you want, I can open up that, but will be distracted by that. Our aim is to describe here how to minimize the beta A so that we can prevent latch up. Are you getting? Harsh Tripathi.
Yes, sir.
So now few questions will be there based on this discussion that is going to come in future, like here. So briefly explain how latch up can be prevented. Brief answer is given here. Latch up is an early CMOS problem. It was happening long back, and that problem has been sorted out. But what are the solutions that is given here? See, to prevent latch up resistant CMOS process that is to be used. Use buried heavily doped layers incorporated under the source drain diffusion regions of active devices to prevent latch up. That is one thing. Again, process engineering is involved here. Okay, and punch through by reducing substrate and well resistance. Means when you are designing the BJT, you have to ensure that, sorry, MOSFET, you have to ensure that the substrate and well resistance of these two has to be reduced. Resistance, that is R substrate and R well, N well actually. This resistance to be reduced. To reduce that, what will happen? What you have to, doping concentration has to be increased. So based on that, we'll be discussing later. Let us discuss the second point, the latch up preventive layout techniques. That is connect well and substrate tie. It is called tap or tie to VDD ground. So many connections is to be given, not only single connection. And then use guard rings surrounding the MOSFET. You have to make a guard ring. Then reduce the gain of the parasitic BJTs so that beta PNP into beta NPN is less than 1. So actually we are discussing this point right now. In the previous slide, we wanted to know how beta of NPN and PNP BJT can be reduced. And we saw that it can be done by making wider base region. And we know that it is not a good thing for normal BJT. In normal BJT, the width of base region should be very less, very thin layer it should be, so that gain is more. There, in that case, gain is our priority. Here, we want to reduce the gain because it is not our desired BJT. It is parasitics, unwanted. Understood? Himanshu?
Yes, sir.
And another way to reduce it by reducing the increasing the ratio, and the ratio can be increased by how? By decreasing ND or increasing NA. Increasing NA means what will happen to the MOSFET. Our device is MOSFET, not the BJT. CMOS chip, CMOS process. If you do that, what will happen? If NA increase, what will happen? If ND decrease, what will happen?
So number of holes will increase, number of electrons will decrease.
That is obvious, but what will be the effect on our MOSFET?
So, but pinch off
Gain diffusion capacitance will increase.
So here it is said in otherwise that this is ND, right? If you decrease it, then NA by ND will be increased. If you decrease this fellow, then what will happen? The resistance we have discussed, this also offers resistance. Have you not discussed? Resistance offered by this diffusion region will increase, and hence circuit speed will be less. If you increase this one NA means here base region. This is the base of the BJT. If this you increase NA, what will happen to the BJT? MOSFET. Which parameter of the MOSFET will be affected? Can you remember this equation?
Yes, sir. Gamma.
So gamma equals to square root of twice Q NA epsilon Si by C ox. So if this fellow Na, doping concentration of the substrate of the N MOSFET is increased, what will happen to VT? Will it not increase?
Yes, sir. It will increase.
If it is increased, what will happen to the circuit speed?
It will decrease.
So this thing I want you should know. The increment of hole and electrons, that is known. What is the after effect? So anyway, let us go ahead. We are going back. So let me ask a question here. CMOS design rule says that minimum poly width The rule number is R301 is 2 lambda. Minimum metal width R501 is 3 lambda. Minimum space between two metal 1 M1. R502 is 4 lambda. See, rules are more or less said. This is the poly line going on the gate. It is 2 lambda, very thin. Lambda is nothing but half of channel length. You can think of half of the channel length can be thought of as a lambda. Okay, L, half of L. And here you see that this width minimum metal 1 M1 metal 1, say metal 1 connecting the, let me help you to understand. Say this is the metal 1 connecting the both the drain. Assume that this is the bottommost metal layer. There may be more than 10 even today metal layers, stack of metal layers separated by SiO2 NBT. Okay, so one node is connected to the other node, and one terminal of the BJT MOSFET connected to the other terminal by some metal layer. Okay, interconnect. So that width of that is 3 lambda. I mean, then the process or design rule says that the metal one and another metal one side by side going, the distance between that is 4 lambda. Okay. See, design rules not yet discussed. Let me briefly say here, when you are going to fabricate your design, after doing the circuit level simulation and getting the desired outputs, say you are supposed to design a full adder circuit, then the propagation delay of carry is important. And why carry is important? Because you know the propagation delay in a ripple carry adder propagates from the first stage to the last stage, and the final carry is not settled or ambiguous, you can say, till the previous carry is coming into it, the last stage. So propagation delay of a carry in a full adder is more important than the SAM delay. Okay. So anyway, my point is, suppose you have to design a circuit. You are a design engineer. You have been assigned to design a circuit whose propagation delay should be, say, 20 nanosecond. Power dissipation, say, 20 microwatt. Something specification is given like this. Some specification. So while simulating, you are going to measure it. Those who are doing the lab, they will very soon come to know how to measure the, say, propagation delays or the power dissipation. Once you could achieve these values from the circuit, given circuit, then what you will do? You will do the layout. After doing the layout, again, post-layout simulation you will perform. In post-layout simulation, all the parasitics will be included, right? Like resistance of the interconnect, then capacitance of the interconnect, and various nodes will be included into the simulation, into the post layout simulation. And hence, obviously, these values which earlier you got may not be same. Normally, the power dissipation or propagation delay will increase once you include those parasitics. So again, you have to do the layout many times, maybe repeated. And finally, possibly you'll be getting the desired results. Your designs may be finally giving the desired outputs with given specification. Then you will do what? In a CMOS flow, process flow, what you'll do? After that, you will be create a file called GDS2 file. from the tool. We have the tool, cadence tool, and that GDS2 has to be sent to the fabrication lab, say TSMC or UMC. And that file format is nothing but the layout of various layout is here. You can say that that is going to give you give them the information about dimensions of various regions. It is the information related to various rectangles. Once they decode or use that file into their software, process engineering software, and then they will make the masks and they'll be able to fabricate. Okay, so my point was what? I forgot. So when you are doing the layout, you have to take the foundry file from them. You have, files possibly for simulation in your lab, but that may not be acceptable by that particular vendor or the fabrication lab like TSMC. We have to, if we want to fabricate our design by TSMC, we have to take their foundry file, and that foundry file will have its own design rule, and that design rule has to be followed while doing the layout. Say that design rule says that yes, you cannot make thinner poly than 2 lambda. You know what is, I'm going to say here, this is the poly. This is the layout of inverter. So how it is drawn, let me explain. The whole screen, say it is a N-type substrate, sorry, P-type substrate, lighted up substrate for N MOSFET. P-type lighted up substrate for making N MOSFET. So in that you can draw a rectangle like this. Okay, not here, sorry, it is this one. Or let me take a new page, so that new slide that I can do here. See, whole screen from in front of me is a P-type lightly doped substrate. So in this substrate, what you can do? We can directly make the N plus region for N MOSFETs. Okay. So that I'll do with a color. Say I'm drawing a rectangle which is for N MOSFETs. But in this P-type substrate, I cannot make the N MOSFET, P MOSFET. So for that, I have to make some, I have to select some area, which I'll call what? N well. This is N well, in which I can house all the P MOSFETs. So this area is N well, in which we can make many P MOSFETs. But other than this area, all area is P-type lighted doped, so I can make many N MOSFETs here. So one I am showing here by green color rectangle. Now I will take a region, rectangle, I'll make a region in which P plus is formed. And now I will take some red color because normally in micro int let me correct it. This is the polysilicon. Of course, under this polysilicon and above this rectangles, two rectangles, there is silicon dioxide, which I am not showing. It is understood that it is there. Okay, so there is no physical contact between this green box and this yellow box here. Okay, there is no physical contact. In between, you have silicon dioxide, and we know that under the polysilicon, you should have silicon dioxide in the gate of a MOSFET. So you have drawn the poly, and this width, say one design rule saying that this width of poly cannot be more than 2 lambda. Minimum is 2 lambda. 2 lambda. The design rule is saying. And once you draw it, the software which I'll give demo for the lab student is that this is going to bisect this region. It is to be understood that it is going to bisect. So you have the N plus region left side and right side N plus region. Similarly, you have the P plus here for the P MOSFET. So two regions are separated. The way we need in a P plus is required for, sorry, P MOSFET. So that is here, and on that we have the silicon dioxide, then on top of that you have the poly for P MOSFET, similarly for the N MOSFET. So once you draw the poly with that software, microvane, the rectangle is bisected as if it is not connected from each other. Left side is not connected to the right side. So your N plus P plus is made. Okay. And then you have to, you can give a metal connection, or directly here you can give the input here, because gate are, these are the gate of N MOSFET and P MOSFET, and then you connect this with say this is going to be your contact. This is another contact. This may be multiple contact. I'm showing only one. Here maybe output of the inverter, and here you draw some ground line or VSS line or ground. Give a connection here. Is another contact. Okay, for the ground. Then here another metal line, normally drawn with blue, and that software give the connection here. Another contact. This is VDD. So this is source side of the P MOSFET. This is a drain side of the P MOSFET. This is a drain side of the N MOSFET. This is source side of the N MOSFET. And by default, this substrate whole screen is connected to ground. Okay, it is grounded. But yes, NOL has to be connected with ground, because you know that is to be connected to what? To highest potential. The body of a MOSFET. The body of the MOSFET is nothing but NOL. That is to be connected to VDD. Okay. And the body of NMOSFET is to be connected to the ground, and this substrate, or I mean whole screen is substrate for me, that is by default connected to lowest potential or ground. So for that we need not to do anything. So layout of your inverter is done. Now my point is not here to show the layout, but certain rules, design rules, which must be followed. One rules I said that it is 2 lambda. Suppose that TSMC rule is saying it you cannot make the more than 2 lambda. Now, by the by, tell me what is the length of the MOSFET and width of the MOSFET in this diagram? We have drawn it, and we know that electrons flow in MOSFET, electrons flow from source to drain, and hence current in the opposite direction, drain to source. In case of MOSFET, for PMOSFET, holes moves from source to drain, current is also in the same direction. Tell me length of the channel of these MOSFETs and width also. Who is going to say something? I have not shown, but I am asking, thinking that you must be able to think of and tell.
Sir,
Prem,
length is basically the width of the gate.
Yes,
or
2
the length of
lambda.
the gate. 2 lambda.
Width of the poly. Poly width. Poly width, that is 2 lambda. In this case, is the length. Okay. And width of the MOSFET and MOSFET. Is it not the width? Yes. Rajwal, are you understanding? Length you have said correctly, because electrons will flow in this direction, current in this direction. So this is the length. What is the width? Is it not this width from here? I mean, this dimension. This one I have drawn. Could you understand this one? Kartik Rai, Rajwal.
Yes, sir.
Similarly,
Yes, sir.
similar is the case for PMOSFET also, right? So now I'll go back here. So one rule says 2 lambda minimum you can do, means channel length cannot be less than 2 lambda. Okay, lambda may be having some value in micrometer, nanometer, whatever is. Suppose you are designing circuit with 22 nanometer, then L equals to minimum L equals to 22 nanometer. Okay, and hence lambda will be half of that, means 11 nanometer. Okay. This is minimum. Channel length is the most important parameter of a MOSFET. So width normally is larger than the minimum feature size. Okay. Now another important rule is given here is this distance from the edge of N well to the edge of N plus diffusion. This N plus diffusion may be all around the N well. This is your N well. The green box here is the N well, in which you can make any number of PMOSFETs if the rule permits. Here I have shown only one square inside to show one PMOSFET. So the design rule says that this distance must be minimum 6 lambda. Normally, these rules 2 lambda, then metal width saying M1 3 lambda, spacing between two metal one is 4 lambda. Why this minimum? Say why it is not allowing to make even thinner line. If thinner line, then what may happen? Somewhere it may not actually made properly. So thin that while fabrication, the metal deposition is not occurring properly. There is a break. Here I have shown a wider, little wider. I am showing while making or depositing this metal layer, it may be not formed somewhere and there may be a break in the line. To avoid that, they say that you make the metal one not thinner than, less wider than 3 lambda. Then also they are saying that distance between, spacing between two metal lines should be minimum 4 lambda. If you don't do, then they may touch with each other. One line you are drawing, okay, another metal, this is M1, and parallelly another metal line you are drawing. Spacing you are supposed to keep 4 lambda. You are trying to make so dense, and while drawing, your another metal line going parallelly, possibly, is going to touch somewhere. So to avoid this kind of risk of touching with each other, these spacing or rules are given. Okay, if you follow these rules, TSMC or UMC is going to say that yes, we can carry out or make the chip which will be successful. After fabrication, it will be working. There will be no defect, much defect. Okay, still there will be defect and it will be tested, only it can be found. But yes, they are more or less sure that up to 2 lambda poly width we can make. If you make 1 lambda, possibly there will be some breakage when we are drawing it or forming it. Okay, so design rules has to be followed when you are doing the layout and you want to give your design to the design engineers in the fabrication lab like TSMC. Now their equipment is such that they can make this much thin line, polyline, 3 lambda, this much metal 1 line, aluminum line, for example. Once they can make up to 2 lambda thin, I mean, and distance here 4 lambda between 2 line, then why they are telling that this should be 6 lambda? They could say that yes, make it 4 lambda or 2 lambda. 4 lambda spacing could be made. Why they have made 6 lambda? Can anybody say? No. Harshvardhan, anything?
Sir, to avoid the source, the N well and the gate between overlapping of it.
Say something. I'll go back to this diagram.
So to avoid the overlapping of the drain or source with the gate. And also there may be a hot
gate is here. What you are talking about? Gate is here.
Yes, sir.
And we are saying which distance, you know, is 6 lambda. The n plus diffusion age. N plus, this is what? Sorry, in this side. This drawing is, this is n plus diffusion age. This is n plus, this is another n plus, right? For n MOSFET. And this is n well age. This to this, okay? This to this distance should be 6 lambda. If you come to this diagram, it is this to NOL is this. Could you understand? Why they are telling that it should be 6 lambda? Why not 2 lambda or 4 lambda? Once the design rule is allowed, is able to do that, their equipment, process engineering equipment are such that such a precision equipment, they can make it. Even 2 lambda they can make, or 4 lambda they can make, 3 lambda they can make. Then why they are telling that it should be 6 lambda? Tell.
So to avoid
So to-
the flow
Yes,
of
one by one. One by one.
So to avoid the movement of electrons from this region to the next region.
Can the electron move here?
Sir, it should not move, sir, actually, because
It
of
should
the
not move. Then why you are telling that can move?
redox.
And if it is not, if it cannot move, electron cannot move, then why it is not? Why it cannot move?
Sir, I guess there in previous classes we studied about hot carrier injection, sir. Similarly, for long duration, if we use so that the oxide there may be charged.
See, you are telling from here and there. Okay, oxide charging will be taking not here. Okay, at the gate. Electrons where you are not understand. This is the region where electrons flow in this way, and some of the electrons goes here. Okay, to charge this oxide, or it goes to the gate material, giving rise to gate leakage current. We are talking about this region. What is this region, by the by?
Sir, we use SiO2 layer to separate two different MOSFETs. So because of that width, we need this to be minimum 6 lambda.
Okay. Any other person can say any other thing?
Sir, to increase the sheet resistance, then
Kartik
current
Rai?
flow.
Kartik Rai?
Yes, sir.
Can you say something on this?
Sir, the distance is longer so that it doesn't form its own channel.
Channel? Forming on channel. Participati?
Sir, is it to increase the base width of the
Yes, you are
parasitic
here.
VGT?
This is what is the answer. Base width should be larger. Just now we discussed something, and you are now correct. Base width should be larger of this VGT. Otherwise, gain will be more. To reduce the gain, base width of the VGT should be less. Anyway, understood at the end. We'll go ahead. We are wasting time. So that was the question here. SEMS design rule says this. Okay. Explain why the same design rule says that the minimum spacing between N plus diffusion for N MOSFET and P-type substrate in P-type substrate and NOL age for P MOSFET is 6 lambda. It could make smaller, but it has made larger because base width has to be increased so that gain is less. And another reason is there. Another reason is avoid proximity effects. To avoid proximity effects that causes VT to vary depending on location and orientation of photoresist near the edges of wells due to scattering of implanted ions from photoresist. This you are not understanding at this point, I hope. See, answer was here, but you could not say at the beginning. But yes, Prajwal, good. You should think in this way. Okay, little intuitive thinking should be there. The second point, are you understanding? Anybody? Harsh Tripathi?
No, sir.
Okay, so try to once again read why this is wider. I mean 6 lambda. Second answer is to avoid proximity effects that causes VT to vary depending on location and orientation of photoresist near the edges of wells due to scattering of implanted ions from photoresist. What is that? I'll show you. See, to do the ion implantation, to make the N well in a P-type substrate, basic substrate is P-type, lightly doped. So P minus is given here. And in that you want to make N-type. You are inverting the characteristic. What you need is you have to ion implant with, say, phosphorus. While doing that, you have to protect other area, this area. And how it is done? By PR, photoresist. One thicker layer of photoresist is applied. Okay. Through this thin SiO2, the ion can penetrate, but it cannot penetrate through this photoresist. But at the edges, some ions may reflect or scatter and fall into in this region. Okay. So concentration of ions here is greater than this region. So VT of the MOSFET, nearby MOSFET of the edges will be higher or lower compared to VT of here, VT of the MOSFET here. Tell.
It will be higher.
It will be higher. And yeah, and hence you have to have same VT of all the MOSFETs. You have to leave this region. And you see the text here is telling the conservative analog designer may lay out all transistors some minimum distance from any well edge, perhaps as much as 3 micrometer to avoid this effect. This is called proximity effect. To avoid this 3 micrometer space is left. 3 micrometer space is a huge space. A huge distance in manufacturing technologies couple up featuring feature sizes smaller than 100 nanometer. You know, nowadays MOSFET is less than MOSFET, or say similar to that, FinFET, etc. So less. Feature size is so less, smaller, less than 100 nanometer. Whereas you are leaving 3 micrometer, and you can understand why they are doing that. They want all the MOSFETs characteristics will be same. For example, differential amplifier. In that, differential amplifier should have same characteristics. VT should be same for both. Identical MOSFET should be there. And one MOSFET is made here, another is here. Then what will happen? There will be mismatch in the device. So that amplifier will not, differential amplifier, which is required for operation also, cannot be designed. It will be very difficult for a analog circuit designer, especially. Is it understood? Second point, this point.
Yes, sir.
To avoid proximity effects that causes VT to vary depending on the location and orientation of the photoresist near the edges of the wells due to scattering of implanted ions from the photoresist. From the photoresist, see that ions are scattering, entering to the well. So I hope this is understood. And what is this question? One of the techniques to prevent latch up is to reduce the substrate resistance R sub or well resistance R well. by increasing the doping concentration of substrate or well. What will be the possible impact of increasing doping concentration of substrate or in well on the device behavior? I hope you will understand now. There are few points like increasing the substrate or well doping concentration may have the following effects. Increase the tunneling through reverse biased. I think it is discussed some day back. This diagram also. Yes or no?
VT roll-off.
We have discussed this thing, this slide, I think. Increase the tunneling through reverse biased source drain PN junction. Somebody asked question also. Rajwal, are you remembering? Second point. It will increase the CJ, that is SD diffusion capacitance, since the depletion width will be less, and increase the body effect and decrease the mobility and hence device performance. These 4 points understood why it will happen, why this will happen. Now you understood that this will happen, but why they will happen? Tell. Not understood, then tell. I'll explain. Increase tunneling to the reverse biased Shojan diffusion, Shojan PN junctions. What is the meaning of that? Tell somebody. If you are not understanding, tell. Out of the 4 points, could you understand all? If you are understanding, then I'll go ahead. There is no point of wasting time.
Sir, can you explain the first point?
First point. Okay.
Yes,
see, I'll go back to that diagram. Here, what it's telling? See, we have under all these, we have the diodes or not, reverse bias diodes or not. Here you have the reverse bias diode or not. This is a PN junction. Drain will be, drain of an MOSFET is say high, body is 0, so it is reverse biased. And if doping concentration of both are higher, it is already high, and plus means it is already high, maybe 10 to the power 18 or so. They've done the lab also, device lab. And if you increase the P side, P type substrates doping concentration also, so you can reduce the resistance, this R sub or R well. But then depletion layer width will be what? Very less. Do you agree? Yes or no? Both the side doping concentration huge. Distance between the, are you getting or not?
yes, sir.
If doping concentration in a PN junction, if both side is heavily doped and if both side is lightly doped, what will be the difference between these two in terms of depletion width? WD.
Depletion is inversely proportional to doping.
Doping. Okay. So if it is heavily doped, very close or very less depletion layer will be there. If it is lightly doped, it may be wider. Okay. So what is electrical field by the by? 1 point here, A and B, and voltage or potential difference between these 2 points is V and distance is say D. What is the electrical field? Is it not V by D?
Yes, sir.
The electrical field in this case or in this case, which one will be higher?
In the case of higher doping.
Higher doping. So higher doping, high electrical field will cause what? Tunneling. Okay. Increase the tunneling to the point. Reverse bias. normally there will be what? Reverse saturation current. But if the doping concentration is too high, the electrical field across the junction will be too high. Electrical field will be too high because of this. And if it is high electrical field, then it will cause tunneling, and we call it BTBT, IBTBT. That's why it is written somewhere. I have written IBTBT, band-to-band tunneling current. Normally, otherwise we can write IJN, junction leakage current. That is reverse biased diode current. But if the doping concentration is high, then this current will prevail in addition to the JN, IJN. Understood? Kartik Rai and Harsh Tripathi.
Yes, sir.
Harsh Tripathi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, if this point is understood, then somebody say whether you understand second point or not. CJ, increase CJ.
Yes, sir. If the doping concentration is increased, then depletion will be less, which causes the capacitance to be increased.
Increase. Very good. Third point, increase body effect. It is here only.
Yes, circuit speed will be less.
Yes, Na is increasing means your BT will increase. Okay. Body effect, and then third one is the decreased mobility and hence device performance. This point.
Yes, sir. Mobility degradation.
Why the mobility will decrease?
So because after
What is that particular
on
term?
application of high electric field, the electrons will gain.
See, we are talking
speed and
about
then-
heavy concentration in the channel. I mean, P lightly doped should be, but we have increased. Then what will happen?
Sir, if NA
Why?
increase, it will doping concentration it will decrease, sir. Mu naught.
Na you have increased. Okay. What will happen to why the mobility will particular term is there? What is that?
mobility degradation.
Why? Why this happens? What is the reason? That also is having a particular term. Impurity scattering.
I'm not aware of this, sir.
Impurity scattering is a phenomena that will cause electrons are moving. Electrons are moving, okay, in the channel, and a lot of impurities will cause this scattering. Impurity scattering occurs, so mobility degrades, and hence a HEMT kind of devices are nowadays being preferred, where there is no impurity through which carriers move. It is undoped region through which carriers move. Anyway, so 4 points are, and the last something is there. On the other hand, decreasing substrate or well doping concentration may have the following effects. VT will increase and latch up and punch through may occur. So this is the point we'll discuss further in next class. I have a class now. Okay. Next class. Okay. So with this, we are ending today.